Okay, Trigoner, so this is part 2 of our Stats Day 3 notes. Again, still talking about z-scores and a normal distribution. We have an example here. It says a study finds that the weights of infants at birth are normally distributed with a mean of 3,270 grams and a standard deviation of 600 grams. We are randomly choosing an infant. So again, I went ahead and if you take a look at my normal distribution, if a z-score is 0, that means that again we would have a weight of 3,270 grams. Notice I went ahead and added 600 grams as I moved out 1 standard deviation away from the mean, and 2, etc., and 3. So notice I filled in my normal distribution with some values that might help us. And the first question says, what is the probability that the randomly chosen infant weighs less than 4,170 grams? So I should say 4,170 grams or less. So let's see, that particular value would be right about here. And notice there is not we don't have a value, we need a z-score associated with that particular weight. So let's go ahead and start by finding our z-score. So go ahead and pause the video and find the z-score associated with a weight of 4,170 pounds. Okay, that's so funny. I said pounds. I meant grams. Oh my gosh, 4,170 pounds. That would be a very heavy baby. So 4,170 grams. So notice your z-score is 1.5. So if you take a look at your z-table, the number associated with 1.5, a z-score of 1.5 on the table is 0.9332. So that means that let's see, there's a 93.32% probability that a randomly chosen infant would weigh 4,170 grams or less. All right, what about this next question? We have 3,990 grams. So go ahead and find your z-score and then find the value on the z-table associated with that z-score. All right, so hopefully you found the z-score to be 1.2, and the value on the z-table associated with that particular z-score is 0.8849. But they want to know the probability the infant weighs 3,990 grams or more. So you would have to do 1 minus 0.8849. So your answer would be 0.1151. So 11.51% probability that a randomly chosen infant would weigh 3,990 grams or more. Okay, so for the next question now, we need to find two z-scores because 3,000 and 3,576 are your data values. Go ahead and pause the video, choose z-scores, and find the numbers associated with those z-scores on the z-table. Okay, so hopefully you found your first z-score to be negative 0.45 and your second z-score to be 0.51. Now, the numbers associated with those z-scores on the z-table were 0.3264 and 0.6950. Remember that they give you the area under the normal distribution curve from that particular value and then to the left. So if we wanted the probability of weighing between those two particular data values, we would have to subtract to find 0.3686. Okay, our final example here, we're talking about seals. So go ahead and read about the seals, and it might help if you fill in some values on that normal distribution and take a look at the first question. All right, everyone. So they said that the average was 73 seals and a standard deviation of 14.1 seals. Now, remember, you can't have part of a seal. We would be rounding to whole seals only, please. But again, you know, these are the numbers that we have. So again, rounded numbers. So what we're going to do is we are going to look at the first one. It says find the probability that most 50 seals were observed. So again, 50 seals, that's your X value, that's your data. And notice you could find a z-score associated with that of negative 1.63. So again, 50 seals, that would be right about here somewhere. And I want to say at most. So that's 50 seals or less. So the number associated with the Z value of negative 1.63 on the Z table is 0.0516. So that means that the probability is 5.16%. Okay, let's take a look at the next problem. The next problem, part B, it says the z-score is negative 1.5. So go ahead and find the data value. So this time I give you the z and you are telling me the x. So go ahead and pause the video and give that a try. Okay, so let's see how you did. So we let z be negative 1.5. We're trying to find x. Our average is 73 and our standard deviation is 14.1. So we end up with 51.85 seals. So let's round that because, again, whole seals only. So 52 seals. Okay, so for this last, or for part C, I should say, it says find the number of seals observed if the area under the normal distribution is 85.99%. So go ahead and pause the video and give this one a try. Okay, so for this one, for number 3C, they're saying that the area under the normal distribution is 85.99%. So you are looking at the table for the z-score that is associated with that. So let's see, I'm looking right around here. It looks like 1.08. There we go. 1.08. So the z-score associated with 85.99% is 1.08. So we can go back to our example here and notice that our z-score would be 1.08. So now we're trying to find that data value or find the number of seals, which would be x. So go ahead and pause the video and give that. All right, so we use our equation and we're trying to find x. So the z-score is 1.08. The mean is 73. The standard deviation is 14.1. So if you solve this for x, you get 88.28 or approximately 88 seals. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try part D. Okay, so first it might help to understand what the question is asking. So if this is our normal distribution, they're saying find the number of seals. So we're trying to find x, the number of seals, that's the data, observed within 6% of the mean. So if this is our mean, within 6%, that would be, for example, if this right here, that would be between 56%, there we go, and 44%. Right. So what I think would be helpful would be if you go to your Z table right now and find the Z-score associated with 56%. So here we go. If we go to our Z table and for associated with 56%, so let's see, that would be, right, this looks like the closest, right about here. That would be approximately 56%. So our Z-score is about 0.15. There we go. We'll go with 0.15. So here we go. So we're going to think of this as a z-score of 0.15 and a z-score of negative 0.15. So the next step is to find x using those two z-scores. So pause the video and go ahead and do that now. All right, so hopefully you found with a z-score of 0.15, x would be 70.885 seals, and with a z-score of negative 0.15, x would be approximately 75.115 seals. So I would definitely round that and say between 70 and 76 seals. But again, that was approximate, so everyone might round a little bit differently. So go ahead and try the homework. Give it a try, everybody.